Welcome everyone. In this instalment of my AC 2-litre restoration, I'll be dealing with an unusual feature, AC's patented wire mesh splash guards. I usually hear these referred to as stone guards, but I believe they were originally intended to prevent muddy water from rebounding from under the wings, thus keeping the bodywork clean. They were introduced by AC during the 1930s when wings were made of steel. With the duralumin wings on the postal AC, the guards might protect against damage from stones, although I've never seen any such damage when the guards are absent, and they are absent from most post-war AC saloons now. Even though the guards are made of aluminium mesh with a frame of thicker aluminium wire, they eventually fall off. They were secured to steel brackets along with large penny washers, also of steel. The aluminium mesh corroded away at the contact points. I could not find a supply of aluminium woven mesh, but I recall someone getting stainless steel versions made back in the 1980s. I found that there is a plentiful supply of stainless mesh in the exact dimensions of the originals. That is, 1/4 of an inch pitch and a wire diameter of 0.048 of an inch. In metric, that's a pitch of 6.35 millimeters and the wire diameter is 1.2 millimeters. The beading wire is 0.16 of an inch or just over 4 millimeters. The thickest annealed stainless wire I could find was 3 millimeters, and I decided that the extra stiffness of this material makes 3 millimeters ideal. My problem with ordering various materials for the AC is that most, here in the UK, are sold in metric. The reason that this is a problem is that the lengths required always seem to be slightly more than a whole number of meters. With stainless steel, that adds a lot of cost to an already costly purchase. I decided to cheat on this occasion. There was already going to be a lot of wastage from a roll of stainless mesh, and the front guards are a little over 2 meters long when laid out flat. I decided to add separate extensions to the tail end of each one. For the rear guards, I made the frame from the 3mm wire and test fitted it. The stainless mesh is a lot stiffer than the original aluminium, and there's a greater risk of injury from the sharp wires, so I wore gauntlets while working with the mesh. I cut out the mesh slightly oversized so that there's enough to fold over the frame. Progressively fitting the mesh onto the frame looks easy, but the frame is very flimsy at this stage. Also, the mesh is reluctant to fold over and tends to spring back when hammered. The combination of hammering and bending with self-locking pliers did the trick, and also narrow nose pliers to get the last few wires into place. Each rear mesh is fastened on with 4 of the wood screws that secure the wings. This held the mesh firmly against the wing, but I decided to put some foam neoprene padding under it to create a slight gap. The rear is bolted to a steel bracket, and the tail end extends to the rear of the wing. The bracket has a slotted bolt hole which makes it easy to remove if you need access to the taillight wires. The front guard is slightly more complicated. It is wider and tapers to the rear and is also folded along an edge as seen here. I worked from the front end and finished with where it's shaped like an angle girder. With the 2 meters of mesh running out, I made an extension piece from offcuts and fitted a small stainless machine screw and nut. The front end of the mesh is bolted to the wing with the 5/16 Whitworth coach bolt. I fitted stainless penny washers at all the mounting points. I also stuck foam neoprene to the wing at all the places where the mesh would touch it, including the housing for the side lamp. Note that electrolytic corrosion of aluminium can be slightly worse with stainless steel compared to mild steel. At the top is a long thin bracket. It was missing from one side, so I made a new one from a strip of mild steel. The steel is 1 inch wide and 1/8 of an inch thick, or approximately 25 by 3 millimeters. There's a single bolt to fix it to the inner wing, and another single bolt to hold the mesh. Both rear brackets were missing, but I recall seeing them on an AC years ago. There's a single mounting hole below the doorstep level, so I made these new ones. Installing the front guards was more fun than I expected. With the wheel removed and the car safely supported on stands and blocks, I found that it's impossible to fit the upper bolt onto the mesh. Instead I test fitted it and marked where the bolt needs to go and the angle of the bracket relative to the mesh. Then I bolted the bracket to the mesh prior to installing. The wire ends are pretty sharp, so I've tried to bend all the ends over. Hopefully this will mean I don't have to wash the AC so often. We shall see. Thanks for watching.